Work has started in Newark on a project to develop a national Civil War centre. The theme will be the deadly struggles for power in the 17th century in Britain, swashbuckling royalists, zealous roundheads making a historic return in a plan which they're going to throw some money at. It's going to cost £5.4 million, and the man in charge of it all is Michael Constantine. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. And
as we talk, you're handing me some snooker referee white gloves.
Yes, I'm afraid so. They're the things that you have to wear when we're going to be handling the special things that we brought in for you to have a look at and feel today.
Why do I need to wear gloves?
Well, the thing is that when you're handling the coins that we've got, which people should be able to see on your website, is that the grease from your fingers will actually affect the metal. So, as you can see, these coins are a little bit older than the kind of stuff that's rattling around in your pocket.
Which of these is the oldest one?
The oldest one is the gold one. I mean, that's it's called a Unite coin. It's from 1625, and Civil War's all about Charles I. This is Charles I, a kind of almost a high point. This is his happiest time. He's about to get married. This coin is him about uniting the three kingdoms. He's King of England, Scotland and Ireland. The world is good. He's spending an awful lot of money on art and on his buildings, and the world's looking good for Charles I. Is
this coin gold?
It is gold, yes. It's real gold. It's real gold, yes.
Wow. And is this Charles? This is Charles on the back of the coin, isn't it?
Yeah. The front's got the profile of Charles, and then on the back of it you've got the royal standard, with all the countries of which he is king.
And this is from 1623.
1625, that one. Right. But it was found in Newark in a hoard of these kinds of coins in 1959.
Wow. How did they punch such intricate-looking pictures?
And that's why you had the Royal Mint, so that they would punch them in to make sure that nobody could then fake them up, you see. So the Royal Mint, which was based in the Tower of London, that's where it came from, and that's where they would make the coins.
It's very thin, isn't it?
It is thin, because it is gold, so, you don't have a need for that many gold coins, unless you're very wealthy.
Yeah. How much would this be worth now? I mean, if this was to accidentally... slip under the desk.
If it was to slip under the desk, the three large fellas that are outside to escort me from the premises would be coming in and looking for it.
How much is it worth?
Now, see, that's the joy of working in museums. We really care about its historical value rather than its monetary value.
Okay, that's a fantastic question. Well avoided. Brilliant. And... I mean, from a historical point of view, a find like this, what is the significance of a find like this?
Well, the significance of a find like that, it was when it was found in 1959 is one of a hoard, and we have several hoards in our collection, and it just shows the kind of strain that Newark was in during the sieges of the Civil War. So instead of putting your money into the bank, you'd actually be burying it in your garden or in your house so that nobody else could find it.
So it tells us a story, doesn't it?
That tells us the start of Charles, when it's been minted, but also the people that are using those coins and the kind of trials and tribulations that they were under when they're deciding to bury their money rather than to use it and do anything else with it.
Yeah. How privileged is this? I mean, I'm sat here holding it. What a privilege. It feels like a privilege.
Well, it is, because we don't usually get the gold coins out, and when they're on display, they'll be inside, obviously nicely secure glass boxes displayed so people can actually see them and appreciate them. So they're not the kind of things that we handle every day.
It's quite humbling.
Yes, I enjoy it.
Wow. We'll talk some more in a minute. Okay, now, hold on. So, you've handed me a couple of what look like silver coins as well, and we'll talk about those and their history as well in just a moment. Michael Constantine is here on BBC Radio Nottingham. Good afternoon, this is Gareth. Presenting the programme this afternoon in the kind of gloves that you see snooker referees wearing at the Crucible, and they replace the cue ball after it's been potted. Those kind of gloves, and there's a very good reason for wearing those gloves this afternoon, because work started in Newark on a project to develop a national Civil War centre, and some of the artefacts that are in the studio this afternoon, dating back to 1645, you've been hearing. The grease on my fingers, apparently specifically, could destroy the metal. There's gold and there's silver coins, and Michael Constantine is in charge of the lot of them. Just quickly, the National Civil War Centre, this project, this £5.4 million project, when it's all done, when it's all complete, what shape will it take?
What you'll have is we've got three very old buildings. One of them goes back to 1500s, so we know it was there during the Civil War when stuff happened. They'll be having galleries which will have exhibitions about the Civil War. So you'll have collections of armour, you'll have the story of, why did the Civil War start? Why do we care? Why is it relevant today? What's the legacy of the Civil War? And as well as that, you'll have galleries about Newark and its history, and because, part of Newark's history and why the town still looks the way it does is because of the battering it took in the Civil War and how it was not actually slighted. When the parliamentarians came in, the town was so full of plague, they weren't really hanging around. So they didn't blow up all of the castle and they didn't demolish all of the fortifications, which they did elsewhere. So that's one of the reasons why Newark looks the way it does today.
We've got the plague to thank for that.
We've got plague, typhus, So, people think of the Civil War as, a very nice civil and gentlemanly, time. But, 25% of the population of Newark died during the sieges. It was twice as bad to be alive then as it was during the First World War because of the Civil War. It's Englishmen killing Englishmen. Everybody loses. It's really a messy place.
Yeah, and the coins, the silver coins. We've looked at the gold one. I've just picked up the two silver ones. I've got them both in my hands, and to the naked eye, they look the same. But there's a weight difference, isn't it? Am I right?
Yes, you're right. The silver, the diamond-shaped coins, they're called siege pieces. And what happened was, people weren't taking IOUs. By the time they'd been under siege, for 3 and 4 and 5 months, nobody was believing that there was any more money. So, they were actually hammering out the church silver plate and cutting it up into diamond shapes, because that's the best way of using getting the most amount of coins out of a strip of silver. It's the easiest way to do it, and those became the currency of the town. So these are kind of emblematic of Charles, from the fantastic gold coin where everything is hoped, to his royalist subjects hammering out the silver plate and chopping it up to actually make coins to pay for what we found out, pay for wrapping up the soldiers' bodies to be able to bury them. We've got the accounts that detail the civilian and the military suffering. It's not all about dashing Prince Rupert and his dog riding around the countryside winning battles. It's a gritty, real story of real people in the real place. It is Newark.
So there's a real story of sort of desperation then, isn't it, behind?
I mean, the Civil War sieges were desperate times. There's flaming grenades coming over from mortars. In the summertime you've got plague to look forward to. In the winter it was more typhus. It's not. You're running out of food. The horses are starving and being eaten because there's no grass for them. It's not very civil, this thing called Civil War.
No. Plucky soldiers, though, they liberated coins from elsewhere, didn't they?
Well, yes. Latest research showed that the kind of Newark horse, when they needed some more money, had a day trip down to Leicester and kind of helped themselves to the silver plate of Leicester to ride back so they could hammer it out to make even more coins.
I should feel guilty about that, but I don't.
Well, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's true. And the different weight of these coins, presumably... I'm not stating the blatantly obvious. This heavier one is worth.
One's a shilling and the other one's a half crown. So they were even making different denomination of coins because that's what they needed to do.
Yeah, you're discovering new stuff all the time, then, aren't you? This is I say this quite a lot about history, but it is like an onion that you just continue to peel and peel and peel.
It is. One of the amazing things was there were 5 boxes of kind of archive documents which had been in the archive, and we knew that there were documents there. It's just actually going through them and cataloguing them. And part of the process of cataloguing them revealed the tremendous stories that were in this archive. So usually the Civil War is about battles and that kind of thing, whereas this gave the human story of a petition for to the mayor because someone's house had been blown up, somebody complaining because soldiers were being billeted into them, somebody going and recharging for the wrapping up of a soldier's body who died on their property. They'd got to bury them and they were coming back and saying, can I have the money for the cloth? And it's those kind of human stories which we'll be telling in the National Civil War Centre, which will kind of set it apart from anywhere else.
Yeah. Where do you go? Where do you have to go to? I mean, to see these coins, to experience the stories that you're telling?
Well, the National Civil War Centre will be on Appleton Gate. The builds have started. When you go to next to the Palace Theatre, you'll see the building site. In about a year's time, if we can get through this winter without too much snow, we'll be looking at getting some of the objects in and looking to open either before or after Christmas next year.
All right. And in the meantime, is there a website you can go to?
If you use the ubiquitous, if you were to Google or use any other search engine for the National Civil War Centre Newark, you'll be able to find us, and that's where we'll be.
Fabulous. Will you keep us posted?
Certainly will, and any more special things we find, we'll come along and make sure that you wear white gloves again.
Excellent. I have quite enjoyed that, as you probably gathered. Michael, thanks ever so much indeed. Brilliant. Fantastic story. And as we say, the Facebook page, Gareth Evans on the BBC, and we're tweeting the pictures as well.